Welcome to Gurukul Lectures. In the ongoing series of leadership and team development, today we will be talking more on the dimensions of team cohesiveness or the group cohesiveness. We will be discussing now the positive impacts of team cohesiveness. So there are some of the positive impacts of the team cohesiveness that increases the overall performance of any group. The organizations consider employees as an asset because the organization is dependent on the people working therein, and as more and more people are involved in the complex functioning of the company, an organization faces the problem of group cohesiveness and its impact on overall productivity of the organization as well as in the office harmony. Now, if the company wants to achieve the organizational goals, it is very important that the manager encourages all the employees to bond with their team members so that the complete team can work together towards achieving the shared goals. And it is very important that there is a healthy conversation and the relation between the team members to work effectively. But alas, if you see the contemporary organizations, the competition is there amongst the team members and there is a lack of team cohesiveness, which is actually retarding the growth of the company and particular group and for that particular department of the organization. So as a team leader, what they have to do is they have to instill the feeling of team as well as the team spirit is concerned, and they have to actually wipe out the competition within the group and instill the overall group cohesiveness feeling, the we feeling, so that the people focus on achieving the goals. That is so unnecessary tension among the group. So we have to wipe out all the aspects which is increasing the tension between the groups and within the groups and increase a healthy competition rather than a stiff competition. And definitely if we want to achieve the group cohesiveness and increase the organizational productivity, the group productivity, the departmental productivity, we have to actually work on increasing the cohesiveness aspects. Cohesiveness groups or the cohesive groups are more powerful and are more likely to act in a unison whether their expectations do not come to be realized. So generally speaking, people, they join a particular group because they expect it is to satisfy their particular needs. So cohesion develops if these hopes are realized, and the group cohesiveness is definitely an important indicator of how much influence of the group as a whole has over the individual members. It can be thought of as a strength of the glue which holds the group together. It is defined as the degree to which the members are attracted to one another and share the group goals. So cohesiveness causes more harmonious behavior in the group members. A cohesive group is able to act as one body to achieve its particular goals. Now, according to Shaw, the members of highly cohesive groups are more energetic in their group activities and, of course, less likely to be absent from the group meetings and are very happy when the group succeeds and very, very sad when the group activities they fall. So definitely you can see such a positive aura or such a positive reflection of a cohesive group. One, they are more energetic, there's more energy into the group, which is definitely a very positive energy, and they would always like to attend whatever meetings are lined up. They never want to skip, or the absenteeism is very, very less in a very good atmosphere where the groups are cohesive. They're very happy when the group success is there, and they feel very, very bad when, they are moving on a path of a failure. So whereas the members of a less cohesive groups are less concerned about the group activities, the members are not dedicated to the group and its purposes. Their loyalty and support are mediocre or variable. The ability of a group to be more or less cohesive is dependent on the several factors. And in this part, we will be discussing more on the factors affecting the group cohesiveness. The first and the foremost factor which is very important, is a similarity. When the group members are similar, it's easier for the group to become cohesive, because you need not explain what is different, what is diverse, what is, very, very different. So the similarities can be due to several factors, like having the similar value system, similar beliefs, life circumstances, or even sometimes the pressing life issues. So if we have the similarity in the group, definitely it affects the cohesiveness of that particular group. Let me give you an illustration. A group of the patient with depression might be more cohesive than a group of 10 members, each with different mental health diagnosis. So definitely we talk about similarity as one of the prime factors which is affecting the group cohesiveness. Let us move on and explore more factors affecting the group cohesiveness. Out of this, the second is your group openness to the new members. When a group is open and welcoming the new members, the group members more easily develop the cohesion, and often over time the group membership will change due to various life circumstances or changing the individual needs. I'll give you an example. Mr. Josh's bowling team lost Frank when he moved out of the town. So James joined the team in the Frank's place. The rest of the bowling team welcomed James with an open arms, and the James felt accepted and began to really look forward to the bowling nights. The third and the most important factor affecting the group cohesiveness is trust. When the group members feel that they can trust each other, group cohesiveness is even more easily developed. Let me again give you an example. The veteran shares with his PTSD support group things he did in Iraq for which he feels guilty. The other veterans in the group provide reassurance and don't judge him. So the group is closer as a result. So that means the trust factor plays a pivotal role as far as increasing the cohesiveness in the group is concerned. Not only this, we have also one of the prime factor which is also called as a stage of the group. So when a new group is formed or we are in the forming stage, there tends to be an initial burst in a group cohesiveness because people, they don't know each other. It's a beginning of formation of the group. So there are so many ambiguities, so many issues when you form a group, because the first goal of any group is often to form. So there is definitely a new aspects, new dimensions as far as the stage of the group is concerned. We have a forming stage, we have a storming stage, then we have, the performing stage, and we have the dilution phase wherein the purpose of the group is formed and the purpose is achieved, the group will be dissolved. So the stage of the group definitely matters a lot and it affects the group cohesiveness, and we have to see the different stages of the group, and as per the stages of the group, the level of the cohesiveness in the group, it is impacted. Now let me start with another factor which is very important and it also affects the group cohesiveness, which we call it as the past group experiences. When the members of the new group have had the previous positive group experiences, they are more easily able to establish the group cohesiveness. And when the members had had the past group experiences that were unfavorable, they will resist developing the cohesion. For example, last year Julie was involved with a work project that had a lot of tension and conflict. The group had so much difficulty working together with the project was never completed and the group was disbanded. And when the Julie was assigned a new work group this year, she dreaded it and kept her distance from the other group members. Then we have another factor which is impacting the group cohesiveness. We call it as threat and competition. Whenever a common group goal is threatened, cohesiveness increases. Also, such cohesiveness increases the importance of the goals. And when we fight for a goal, the goal gets the highest priority. Thus, the threatening party will have the less chances of success when faced with such a unified force. There is a saying that union is strength, and when we exercise that particular common aspect of union is strength in a group, we have a unified and a complete cohesive group, which is very important for the organization's success, with the organization's health, for the particular group goals, for achieving the shared goals, etc. Why? Because when you talk about a common goal and you feel threatened from the outside party, the whole group will stand united, and there's a saying, united we stand and divided we fall. So thus, when you face a particular unified, complete, cohesive group, the third party will automatically feel defeated. So this is the beauty of this particular factor. Then we have another factor which is very important as far as the group cohesiveness is concerned, which we call it as difficulty in entry. Some of the groups are not very easy to join, and the members are very carefully selected and feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. So the more difficult it is to get into a group, the more cohesive that particular group becomes, because any Tom, Dick and Harry, they cannot enter that particular group, and the entry is very restricted to very few people, because there are particular norms for a particular member to be a part of that particular group. So the selection process is very, diligently done, very carefully done, and you feel, definitely there is a pride and accomplishment when you selected that you are a part of that particular group, because everyone knows that if you're a part and parcel of that particular group, it is not that easy, or it is not an easy nut to crack to be a part of that particular group. So the more difficult it is to get into a group, the more cohesive that group particularly becomes. Now the reason being that in the exclusive and the elite groups, the members are selected on the basis of certain characteristics, and these characteristics being common to all, they add to the degree of the liking. Let us now talk about another factor, that is time together. This is also considered to be one of the prime factors which determines the cohesiveness of a particular group. It is quite natural that the more time people spend together, the more they get to know each other, and more tendency that they will be get closer to each other, thus strengthening the degree of cohesiveness. So in an organizational setting, people who work near each other are likely to spend more time together. Then we have another factor called the group size. Since continuous and the close interaction among the members is a fundamental necessity for cohesiveness, it would be natural to assume that large groups restrict the extent of communication and the interaction with each other, thus resulting in a reduction of the degree of cohesiveness. Now let us discuss the 10th factor, which is primarily the most important factor which determines the degree of cohesiveness, which we call it as similarity of attitude and the values. One of the strongest source of the group cohesiveness is the similarity in the values, morals, beliefs, and of course the code of conduct. We enjoy the company of others who hold the similar opinions and the characteristics as ourselves. Then we have another factor which needs a further elaboration, is the previous success. When a group achieves a meaningful goal, the cohesiveness of that particular group increases. Why? Because the success is shared by all the members and each one feels responsible for the achievement. Because we are all humans, we feel elevated at the particular aspects and achievements. So for example, when the sports team wins an important game, even one in the team congratulates every other member of that particular team. So let us see, if your group is cohesive, what particular positive outcomes are seen if the group is cohesive. The first is your more participation. Higher the degree of group cohesiveness, closer will be the interpersonal relationship among the members. And as the result, the members will participate actively in the group affairs and activities. As the member considers the group as their own, just like a family, they will help other members of the group also in the times of need, which will further strengthen their bonds. The turnover of the members will be very low. If possible, all the members attend the same group meetings and the group activities, and also take the active part in the discussions relating to preparing of the strategies for achieving the individual as well as the group goals. The second positive outcome which we can see as far as the group cohesiveness is concerned is more conformity. One of the factors which influence the cohesiveness is a similarity of the attitude as well as the values. As a result, the members tend to like each other and perceive themselves as similar. These characteristics lead the members to be relatively dependent on the group for satisfaction, and thus they are susceptible to being influenced. For example, if a member is getting involved in the organizational politics for enhancing his personal goals, the group might put social pressure on him and make him comply with the particular group norms. Then we have more communications. The member of cohesive groups communicate with each other more than the members of non-cohesive groups, because the members, they share the common ideologies, goals, background or attitude. They are inclined to greater communicativeness, and such communication is definitely reinforcing as it tends to foster and cement the positive social relations as well as the depth of the personal relationships. Then we have more personal satisfaction as one of the positive outcomes of a cohesive group. The members of the cohesive groups are more satisfied as compared to the members of non-cohesive groups. Thus, understandable, because if the members are not satisfied, they will leave the group and join some other group. Members are more satisfied due to so many factors, which includes friendliness, respect, support system, achievement, protection, and a feeling of security. So all these parameters, they have a complete and a straight spillover on the personal satisfaction of the people who are associated with a group. If these factors are positive, it is going to have a positive impact on the cohesiveness. If they are negative, we are going to have a negative spillover on the cohesiveness of that particular group, and that particular group will become non-cohesive in nature. Because if you do not have friendliness, you do not have a respect system for the members, no support system, no achievement, no protection, no security, then nobody would like to stay or glue with that particular group. That person will like to stay away from that group and probably will join some other group. Another positive outcome of a group cohesiveness is a high productivity levels. Cohesiveness may contribute to increased productivity because people in a cohesive group experience the fewer work related anxieties as well as the tensions. Highly cohesive groups tend to have a lower absenteeism and the turnover, and the cohesiveness decreases the productivity and differences among the groups. The studies consistently show that the relationship of cohesiveness and the productivity depends on the performance related norms established by the group. So, if the performance related norms are very high, a cohesive group will be more productive than will a less cohesive group. But yes, if the cohesiveness is high and the performance norms are low, productivity will also be low. If the productivity is low, the performance norms are high, the productivity increases but less in high cohesiveness, high norm situation. So, where cohesiveness and performance related norms are both low, productivity will also tend to be very low and low to moderate range. So, we can see this particular diagram on the screen, which shows a very clear exhibition of the relationship of the cohesiveness performing norms and the productivity. As you can see, where the cohesiveness is high and low and the performance level is also high and low. So, if the performance level is low and the group norms and cohesiveness is high, you counter a low productivity, whereas on the contrary, if the performance norms are high, there is a high degree of cohesiveness. On the contrary, if you see the performance norms as moderate and we have a low cohesiveness, and if the cohesiveness is low and the performance is also low, there is a moderate to low productivity levels. So, these relationships have to be kept in mind and at the center while strategizing and moving towards the cohesiveness about highs and lows, because this is a worst situation if you do not have the cohesiveness in a group. The worst situation for a manager is a high cohesive group with a very low productivity performance norms. So, here the members are highly motivated to work for their personal satisfaction only, not for the organizational goals. So, here the success of the management will depend upon how to direct the activities of highly cohesive group towards the successful attainment of the organizational groups. Now, let us discuss some managerial actions for increasing or encouraging the cohesiveness. The first is make the groups smaller. Smaller groups, more cohesiveness, people will be encouraged to talk to each other, your problems are well taken care of, and of course, the things which are disturbing you, you can have one-to-one interaction which is very close, and of course, it is going to have a very positive impact as far as the encouragement of the cohesiveness is concerned, because people feel that they have a dais to speak, they have a voice to be heard, and if the groups are bigger, on the contrary, the personal attention is lost, the cohesiveness becomes very less. So, we have to encourage that the groups have to be smaller in size. We have to encourage the agreements with the group goals, because if there is a disagreement, because if the people have a different take on the group goals, Mr. X feels that this is important and Mr. Y feels that this is vital and Mr. Z feels that this is not at all important, then of course there will not be any kind of consensus and there will be a big problem as far as moving on the path of cohesiveness. So, we have to make sure that there is a strong agreement with the group members as far as the group goals are concerned, and they should focus that yes, they have a complete agreement on these goals. The third is your increase the time members spend together, because there is a tendency that if you spend more time with those people, you tend to get closer to those people who are in a physical proximity to each other, because that is the time when you share your inner feelings, your fears, your unsaid talks and thoughts. So, you feel close to each other, and this is definitely showing a high sign of cohesiveness. So, as of now, we have seen that there are some managerial actions which are responsible for increasing and encouraging the cohesiveness, that is, make the group smaller, encourage the agreements towards the group goals, and spending more and more time together. Then we have to increase the status of the group and perceived difficulty of getting the membership of that group. Not only this, we have to stimulate the positive and a healthy competition with other group members and the other groups in the organization. We have to give the rewards to the group rather than to the members. So that instills a spirit of team building and team development. Because if we start, giving rewards to the individuals, then of course the very purpose of building of the teams and the building of the groups is defeated. So there should not be any kind of a practice wherein the individual reward system is there. We should completely discard and say no to the individual reward system, and in fact we should give more rewards to the group at large. Not only this, they physically isolate the group and increase the membership homogeneity, because we have already discussed that if we have more homogeneity in the group, it is going to increase the cohesiveness. On the contrary, if we have more of heterogeneous group, then of course it is very difficult to deal with the heterogeneous group. Although when you talk about the contemporary organizations, we have more of heterogeneity factor, but that has other issues and strategies to handle. But if you are making the groups, try and instill the homogeneity into the group, increase the members who are of the same level, and increase the interaction among the members, increase the time spent together, increase the physical isolation of the group. So all these factors are going to increase the cohesiveness. Now, on the other hand, sometimes your organizations demand that you should discourage the group cohesiveness. So as a matter of fact, all the students, researchers and the people must understand that there are some contrary strategies which result in decreasing the cohesiveness. Out of this, the first is the heterogeneous composition. Dissimilarities among the group members in terms of the thinking, goals, benefits, religion, they decrease the cohesiveness. Then of course the recent formation. Recently formed groups are less stable and have less cohesiveness as compared to the older groups which are more stable. If you want to decrease the cohesiveness, go in for the large groups. Large groups, people will have less interaction and there will be less cohesiveness. So large group decreases the group cohesiveness. Then we have a physical dispersion. Sitting arrangements also plays a very important role in the cohesiveness. If people sit at a distance, then there will be less interaction between them, which results in less cohesiveness. And if we have some diversified groups, like people working with the different objectives, decreases the cohesiveness among the group members, because every individual think of achieving his or her objectives instead of the group goals. So this will result in non-cooperation and non-coordination among the group members. Then we have another factor called failures. As and when the group meets any failure, people start blaming each other. And this is the beauty of the failure, that everyone starts making other persons responsible for that particular failure. So this is an important cause for less or decreasing the cohesiveness. So the last but not the least, about the relationship of cohesiveness and productivity. It will be interesting to look into how the group cohesiveness affects the productivity of the group members. The evidences such as the Hawthorne studies indicate that highly cohesive groups are more effective than those with the less cohesiveness. It is also reported that a high degree of cohesiveness is both a cause as well as the effect of high productivity. However, the relationship between the two is moderate by the degree to which the group members' attitudes are aligned with the organizational groups. So this can be understood with an example of a hockey team. Here the success performance of the player depends upon both cohesiveness among the members and their attitude alignment with their particular organizational goals.